Hi, Gerhard Bloom, once again, looking at the tyranny and the delusions of the social justice movement. Yes, I did a recent video on the major victories coming from the Supreme Court, upholding the Constitution and the rights of American citizens. Well, there was a third major victory in the Constitution and maintaining the rights of American citizens. In this case, it's the right of free speech and to be free from coerced speech. Yes, and a 6-3 ruling. A web designer who refused on the basis of religious conscience, refused to produce output that violated her conscience with respect to marriage. And she had to fight this all the way up to the Supreme Court against Colorado. The state of Colorado was attempting to coerce her into producing content that violated her conscience. Now imagine if, and this isn't the first time. This is not the first time these militant leftists try to shoulder innocent people into waving their particular flags. Back in 2018, there was a Masterpiece cake shop. The leftists were trying to coerce this baker into making a cake for a gay wedding. Oh, it's discrimination. No, it's not. The owner of the store made it very clear. The patrons, gay, straight, doesn't matter. They can buy whatever they want from him. He is not making a cake for a gay wedding. It violates his conscience. Religious or otherwise, by the way. I could not care less whether his conscience was troubled by this by virtue of religious belief or just troubled his conscience. Imagine if some neo-Nazi group had come along and said, bake us a cake for this neo-Nazi march we're planning on going on. His shove off. I don't work for you. I make cakes. You buy cakes. We come to some reasonable agreement about the cake that's produced and how much money it's for. Absolute nonsense. So in this time, leftists were trying to coerce this website designer. No, not having it. And a 6-3 decision. What the hell are those other three justices thinking? Well, they're not. They're leftist ideologues, and they love this reign of militant leftist tyranny. You will wave the flag if we tell you to wave the flag. No. So this is a major defense. Justice Gorsuch. The First Amendment prohibits Colorado from forcing a web designer to create expressive designs, speaking messages with which the designer disagrees. Now, what honest individual could dispute that obvious truth? Leftists. They actually want this tyranny to force you into expressing their message. And remember, this silence is violence business. This is what this stuff means, right? You will parrot the ideological nonsense that we tell you to parrot, or we're coming for you. We will fire you. We will get you removed from your jobs. We will smear your reputation. And no. So thank goodness the Supreme Court is a conservative majority, and they're doing the right thing by the American public and by the Constitution, which is their job. You know, perhaps you didn't know, but the justices on the Supreme Court do not make laws. That's not their job. They're to look at legislation that comes before them that's being contested to consider whether or not that law in question is consistent with the Constitution, in which case it's law, or it's inconsistent, in which case it is not law. That's their sole duty. And leftists try to, the Roe v. Wade decision, that was constructivism. This was the Supreme Court legislating from the bench. No. And the Supreme Court did not ban abortion. It said, you know what? The federal government doesn't have the right to legislate this issue. That belongs to the people in the various states. They get to decide. Their legislatures get to vote and decide on what laws they find appropriate for their state. So Supreme Court accused of being authoritarian. No. Whether or not the Supreme Court agrees with banning abortion or permitting abortion, that's their own political view on the matter. It is not what their job is designed to do. Consistent or inconsistent with the Constitution, that's the sole question that they have to determine. At any rate, another major victory from the Supreme Court. I thank you so much for your time and attention. Please do check out my book, Deconstructing Social Justice. It's available on Amazon. It's important, not because I wrote it. I wrote it because the issues could not be more important. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.